Okay, welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Be Informed DNB, brought to you by the Marshall Heights Community Development Organization. I'm Beverly Mann, and we are talking to Ms. Elizabeth Anderson, who is with the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. And Ms. Anderson, before the break, you were telling us about the money that's available for business owners. Can you tell us the deadline that we have to know about to apply for the grant, and how can the money be used if participants get the grants?
Yes, absolutely. So the deadline is January 14th at 4 p.m. The money can be used for facade improvement, interior remodeling, and e-commerce systems. So those are some of the main areas. But of course, when you submit your application, you tell us, what you're going to be utilizing the funding for. We want to hear about your project. We want to know your timeline, milestones, who's going to be working with you on this. So we also want to know, your business background. We want to know how long you've been in the community and, why your business is really vital to the community and the sustainability of the quarters as well. So absolutely, check out the application. It is on the website. I can give you that web address, which is, again, excuse me, DMPED, DMPED .dc.gov.
Okay, great. Well, now, Ms. Anderson, what determines the amount of the award that people can receive?
That is so applicants must submit a budget along with their proposal. And so that's really also dependent on, what the applicant asks for and what the level, the degree of, work is. And so it is a team that makes the final decisions based off of what the applicant has proposed and how it coincides with their budget.
All right. Okay.
Great.
So we want to thank you so much for this information and the great work that you all are doing over at DMPED. We want you to know your family. So please, anytime you want to get the word out, just give us a call and let us help you, let our community know that we have resources that they should be using to impactfully make a difference in our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
We are getting it off. We know that we all have goals, we are empowered, and we have resources in the city to help you make them a reality. Could you please welcome our next guest?
Of course. Our next guest is Mr. George Jones, and he is the Executive Director for Bread for the City. The mission of Bread for the City is to help DC's low-income residents develop their power to determine the future of their own communities. Bread for the City provides food, clothing, medical care, and legal and social services to reduce the burden of poverty. The organization also seeks justice through community organizing and public advocacy. They are committed to treating clients with the dignity and respect that all people deserve. At Bread for the City, they want all of their clients to receive the resources needed for survival and growth and the prosperity of their social, emotional, and spiritual lives. Mr. Jones, it's an honor to have you with us today. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, and welcome back home. You. How are you?
Happy New Year. I'm fine. Great. Happy New Year to you both.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you as well.
Well, please tell us about the amazing work and this beautiful building that I had the pleasure of walking through that is waiting for our community to come and utilize. So tell us about the services and how we can activate them.
Sure. No. So let me first say, Ms. Mann did a great job of sort of summing up who we are. So I may repeat a little bit of that, but we've been in service in Washington D.C. since 1974, and as she mentioned, we seek to sort of help create social and economic and racial justice for community members here in D.C. by both providing direct services like food, clothing, medical, legal, social services. We distribute diapers, and a lot of that work, of course, we've been doing at double time during the pandemic. But we also really increasingly focus on trying to bring about justice for the community members we serve by advocating for public policy reform and systems reform that we think are really critical to help interrupt and disrupt sort of the things that really perpetuate poverty in the communities where we work. And yes, we have a brand new facility. I'm sitting in it right now. We're really proud of this new 27,000 square foot building that we completed actually in October of 2020. But we really are, particularly our medical clinic, we've only been able to sort of operationalize this past October. So since 2021 in October, we opened up our new medical clinic in the facility that also includes food and clothing and legal services. But our medical clinic is the newest program where we hope to ultimately serve about 3,000 unique patients in our sort of holistic primary care practice, which means that they'll be able to get not only primary care visits and care, but they'll be able to get dental and behavioral health and vision care through this one medical clinic we have in the new building.
Now, Ms. Frazier walked me through the building, and it was just amazing how you all have practiced proper protocols. So can you give people who may be a little like haven't had the pleasure of walking through like I did, some of the ways that you all are going to make sure that they are safe and that they're serviced?
Yes, that's a very good point. So originally we were hoping that people could just come in on a drop-in basis like they have historically to our centers, but because of the pandemic, we have had to sort of come up with all kinds of measures and protocol to sort of keep both our community members safe, our staff safe. So, for instance, almost all of our food is being delivered these days via volunteers from Amazon and community volunteers. And so we oftentimes during a given week, we'll serve 10,000, we'll distribute about 10,000 bags of groceries to households. And again, probably 70 to 80% of that still is being delivered during the pandemic. Now, we do, for folks who live in the neighborhood here at near our Southeast Center on Good Hope Road, we do offer sort of a curbside pickup. And so there's still 100 to 200 people who will come and pick up groceries right at the front door. We've got low barrier access for those folks so that they can, there's no paperwork to do. Particularly during the pandemic, we've sort of eliminated a lot of the administrative bureaucracy that sometimes goes with accessing services. So if somebody comes and says they need food, they can grab a grocery bag, or they can get on our list, as most people do when we do deliveries. The medical clinic is seeing people directly. We, particularly for the COVID vaccine, we on Mondays from 1 to 3 and Wednesdays from 1 to 3. We run special vaccine clinics so people can come if they need to get either tested or vaccines on those days here at the Southeast Center. And I don't think I said, but the new address or the address of our new center is 1700 Good Hope Road, right at the corner of 17th Street and Good Hope Road here in Southeast.
But you all have been members of this community for quite long time.
That's right. We this new facility actually replaced our old facility that was just across the street at 1640 Good Hope Road, and some of the same services, other than the medical clinic, those same services that we mentioned, food and clothing and legal and social services, were being provided out of the smaller 9,000 square foot facility that we don't operate out of now. In fact, that center is now, I'm really proud to say that center is also housing a few smaller nonprofits who are running programs. Mutual Aid is running a food delivery program themselves out of there. And there's a furniture program called Furnish DC that distributes furniture to people who need it. And Black Swan is doing some work with tutoring services out of the old building. So in a lot of ways, we've sort of really expanded the capacity to support the community by continuing to have that building be used while this new facility, begins to bring people in for the varied services that we offer here.
Mr. Jones, yes. I love the name of your new facility. Would you tell everybody the name of your building?
Sure. It is the Michelle Obama Southeast Center of Bread for the City.
Yes.
And so we're really proud that Mrs. Obama was willing to allow us to name the facility in her honor. We knew we wanted to name the facility after somebody from the in the social justice space, ideally a person of color. And we started to talk to our community members and our board members and our staff about who would be sort of an ideal namesake for the building. And when Michelle Obama's name came up, there was this universal support for that name. She's so revered in our community, and so once she and her people decided that they would allow us to name the building, it was a pretty easy choice for us.
Okay, great choice.
When you think about the way the community, that corridor is changing, you just talked about how you are collaborating with other smaller nonprofits to help them to begin to lift so that they continue to conserve. Could you give us an idea of what's next? Because you are one of those directors that's always looking to tomorrow and making not only today good, but I've seen you do this for years now, focusing on the next day. So what's next? What can we expect from Bread for the City in the future?
Well, that's a good question. Thanks for asking that. I think you can anticipate that this building, the new building, is really going to be a hub for the community. So, particularly when it's safe enough to sort of expand the kind of activities that can go on in a physical space, we anticipate, hosting other nonprofits in this building. We've already hosted a number of groups smaller groups for board meetings or for other sort of community meetings. And so that's going to be a big part of how this building ultimately is utilized. We've always envisioned it as not just being a space for the Bread for the City activities, but really hoping to sort of help other smaller groups, other sort of projects have a space to operate out of, so that over the next year, the coming years, just anticipate seeing a lot more of that. And I think the other thing is, again, I'd be remiss in saying that we're going to double down on the social justice work we do, trying to really sort of move the needle around housing insecurity and all of the other kinds of ways that people of color have there been so many disparities for those community members that we serve. Right now, Bread is sort of a part of a coalition, for instance, that's working on a summit we're hoping to happen sometime either in February or March, that's sort of pushing for a new vision of an anti-racist DC. And so there are many places across the country who are trying to work specifically on racial equity and racial justice. And we're hoping to create a movement, or at least build on the movement here in D.C. And so look forward to hearing about a summit. We haven't gotten the date set yet that is going to push for even more progressive measures around racial justice in this city.
So you all heard it on Be Informed DMV. This is an organization that is making impact. Now, how can you ask yourself, how can you be a part of it? Can you tell us how those individuals out there who are ready to help someone be as great as them, how they can be able to help you do what you do at this organization?
Absolutely. Well, certainly if you know anybody who might benefit from any of our services, you can always go to our website at breadforthecity.org and check out the services themselves. The new clinic in particular, we really got space for anybody who needs a primary care doc. So we really encourage community members who either need access to health care or know folks who need access to health care to send them our way, because the new practice, again, probably have just 100 or so folks so far, and we can accommodate 3,000 people in that clinic.
Wow.
So we've got plenty of room for that.
I want you to hold on. Yeah, I want you to hold on. We're going to take a quick break because I really want to dive in. We got to get people working, helping organizations, because you're doing so much great work. Please stay tuned. Be Informed DMV. Be right back after this quick message.
News Talk Station.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International. We're spotting some brief delays over on the southbound side of South Capitol